The story begins not with the library itself, but with an idea. A dream whispered in the minds of kings and scholars. What if all the knowledge of the world could be gathered in one place? It was around the 3rd century BCE, under the rule of Ptolemy II, the successor of Alexander the Great. Alexander had founded the city of Alexandria as a beacon of Greek culture. But his successors wanted more. They didn't just want a city, they wanted a kingdom of wisdom, a place where humanity's understanding of the universe could live forever. And so, the Library of Alexandria was born. Imagine walking through its towering columns, where thousands upon thousands of scrolls filled the air with the scent of papyrus and ink. Imagine the soft scratching of reed pens. Scholars hunched over, copying, studying, debating. Here, Greek philosophers studied alongside Egyptian priests, Jewish sages, and Indian travelers. Knowledge flowed across cultures: astronomy, mathematics, medicine, history, even myths. The library was not just a building, it was a meeting point of civilizations. A melting pot of ideas that could have shaped the world far sooner than we ever imagined. Some say the library may have held over 400,000 scrolls. Others claim nearly 1 million. Think about that! 1 million voices from the past, all whispering in unison, preserved in one place. And yet this dream was fragile. For when you gather knowledge in one temple, you also place it at the mercy of time, power, and war. The birth of the library was a spark. But as we will see, even the brightest sparks can be smothered by shadows. It began with a dream of a city that would not just shine with marble and gold, but with wisdom. When Alexander the Great swept across the world, conquering empires, he also planted seeds. In 331 BCE, he founded a city along the coast of Egypt, a city that bore his name, Alexandria. Alexander himself would never see what it became, but his successors, the Ptolemies, saw its potential. Ptolemy I, and later his son Ptolemy II, carried a vision: to gather all the world's knowledge in one place. Every ship that entered Alexandria's bustling harbor was searched. Scrolls seized, copied by scribes, and stored in the great library before the originals were sometimes returned. Travelers from Greece, Babylon, India, and even faraway China brought stories, discoveries, and secrets that found their way into the growing treasure trove. Imagine walking through its hall's towering shelves of papyrus scrolls. The smell of ink and oil lamps filling the air. Scholars whispered translations. Scribes scratched endlessly with red pens. Philosophers argued under painted ceilings. Here, astronomy met mathematics. Medicine mingled with myth. History crossed with prophecy. The Library of Alexandria was not just a building. It was a living heartbeat of human curiosity. A place where the wisdom of ancient civilizations fused into something greater. Some say it held hundreds of thousands of scrolls. Others whisper it may have been close to 1 million. Within them, perhaps the secrets of the stars, the cures for diseases, forgotten histories of vanished peoples. Alexandria's dream was simple: to know everything. But dreams are fragile. And as we will see, when knowledge grows too powerful, it attracts both reverence and fear. Imagine walking into a hall where the air smells of papyrus and ink, where thousands of scrolls are stacked in wooden shelves higher than a man could reach. You can almost hear the scratching of reed pens, the whispers of scholars debating philosophy, the quiet turning of ancient knowledge into eternal memory. And then fire. The Library of Alexandria did not fall in a single night, though storytellers often imagine it that way. Instead, its destruction is a mystery wrapped in smoke, scattered across centuries. Some say the first flames came with Julius Caesar in 48 BC, caught in battle. He set fire to his own ships in the harbor, and the flames leapt into the city. The wind carried sparks to the great storehouses of scrolls. Did thousands of texts turn to ash that night? Caesar never said. But others whisper that the library survived. Until the 3rd century AD, when Emperor Aurelian's army stormed Alexandria. In the chaos, whole quarters of the city burned. Could the scrolls have been lost then? Still, the shadows stretch further. Another story tells of Theophilus, a Christian patriarch in 391 AD, who ordered the Serapeum, the daughter library, to be destroyed. Statues of gods were smashed, temples burned, and with them perhaps the last guardians of ancient wisdom. And yet even here, the tale refuses to end. Some blame the Arab conquest of Alexandria in 642 AD, when Caliph Omar is said to have declared, "If the books agree with the Quran, they are unnecessary. If they disagree, they are heresy." And so, the scrolls were supposedly used to heat the city's bathhouses for months. Historians argue endlessly. Did the library die with Caesar, with Theophilus, with Omar? Or did it die slowly, scroll by scroll, forgotten by men who no longer cared for knowledge? The truth is, no one knows. What we do know is this: somewhere, at some time, the greatest treasure of human thought was reduced to shadows and ash. And yet the question remains, what exactly was lost in those flames? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing inside the Library of Alexandria. Not just any library, but the greatest one the world had ever seen. The shelves groan under the weight of hundreds of thousands of scrolls, parchments carried from every corner of the known world. Greek, Egyptian, Indian, Babylonian, Persian wisdom written in 1,000 hands. Among these fragile scrolls, whispers say, were the secrets of the stars. Imagine astronomical records stretching back thousands of years, Babylonian star charts that mapped the heavens with eerie precision, Indian calculations of planetary cycles, Egyptian myths tying the stars to gods and kings. Some claim the library may have held the work of Hipparchus, the Greek astronomer who first discovered the precession of the equinoxes, the slow wobble of Earth's axis. Others say there were scrolls describing advanced calculations of the Earth's circumference, long before the world believed it was round. And here is where the mystery deepens. If such knowledge existed, how much further did it reach? Were there star maps of constellations lost to time? Perhaps of galaxies only now rediscovered by modern telescopes? Did the library hold texts from ancient seafarers who navigated oceans by stars we no longer name? Some even wonder if the scrolls contained early knowledge of heliocentrism, the idea that the Earth circles the sun. Imagine if mankind had known this truth not in the 16th century, but in the 3rd century BC. How different would our history look? But the cosmos in Alexandria was not just science. It was spirituality. The scrolls may have contained astrological systems, rituals tied to the heavens, beliefs about the soul's journey among the stars. To the ancients, the line between science and mysticism was thin, like twilight fading into night. Every lost scroll was not just a piece of parchment. It was a universe, an entire cosmos of thought, burned away or buried in dust. And so, the haunting question remains: did the destruction of Alexandria set humanity back centuries, maybe even millennia, in its understanding of the universe? Every great library holds its treasures in plain sight. But whispers tell us that the Library of Alexandria guarded something more, something hidden. Beyond the thousands of scrolls on history, science, and philosophy, legends speak of texts that were never meant for ordinary eyes. Some believe the priests of ancient Egypt allowed secret writings to be stored within its chambers, scrolls that carried the wisdom of gods and pharaohs, sacred rituals, forgotten sciences, and the mysteries of life and death. Could it be that the library was not just a vault of knowledge, but a vault of power? Others say it may have contained fragments of Atlantean wisdom, survivors of a civilization that vanished beneath the sea, tales of advanced machines, star maps etched long before telescopes, and teachings that hinted at humanity's forgotten golden age. And then there were the forbidden philosophies, dangerous ideas that challenged kings, priests, and even gods. What if the library preserved knowledge that questioned the foundations of religion and empire? Knowledge so threatening, its very existence had to be buried in flame? The stories may be myth, yet one truth remains. Human history has always hidden its most dangerous secrets. Perhaps the Library of Alexandria wasn't just destroyed by accident. Perhaps it was silenced. Imagine a world where diseases were treated centuries before modern medicine, where machines ran on steam 2,000 years ago, where miracles of science were not dreams of the future, but realities of the past. The Library of Alexandria may have held such wonders. Historians believe its shelves carried texts on advanced medicine, surgical techniques, herbal cures, even the anatomy of the human body studied with astonishing precision. Imagine if those scrolls had survived. Would cancer, plague, or smallpox have been conquered long before they ravaged the world? And then there were the machines. Ancient inventors like Hero of Alexandria built devices powered by steam, the world's first engines. But what if his writings were only fragments? What if hidden in the library were blueprints for technology centuries ahead of its time? Machines of flight, of energy, of creation itself. To the people of the ancient world, these discoveries would have seemed like miracles. But to us, they may have been the stepping stones to a future that never was. When the flames consumed the library, they may not have only destroyed knowledge. They may have stolen entire centuries of progress from humanity's hands. Behind every scroll, behind every fragment of wisdom, stood those who guarded it. The scribes, the scholars, the thinkers, who gave their lives to protect knowledge. In the great halls of the Library of Alexandria, it wasn't just parchment and ink. It was people, men and women who believed that truth once written could outlive empires. There was Eratosthenes, a scholar who measured the earth with shadows and mathematics, coming shockingly close to the true circumference, 2,000 years before satellites. There was Hypatia, the brilliant teacher and philosopher, who stood beneath the shadow of the library and spoke of the cosmos when others dared not. But their devotion came at a cost. In times of war and in moments of political fire, they stood between knowledge and destruction. Some perished for their beliefs. Others watched helplessly as their life's work turned to smoke. The guardians of knowledge remind us. Libraries are never just buildings. They are living legacies, carried in the minds and courage of those who believe wisdom belongs to everyone. When the flames rose, it wasn't just scrolls that were lost. It was voices, silenced forever. Knowledge has always been a double-edged sword. It enlightens, but it also threatens. And nowhere is this more true than in the story of the Library of Alexandria. Throughout history, the library faced forces it could not defend against. The ambitions of kings, the fury of empires, the zeal of faith. Each brought flames, literal or metaphorical, over knowledge it could not control. Julius Caesar's siege of Alexandria in 48 BCE may have ignited the first great fire. Ships burned in the harbor, and with them, some of the scrolls may have turned to ash. Later, during religious upheavals, other fires and purges claimed more. The library may have been destroyed again and again, like a candle flickering against a storm. And yet, the destruction wasn't always deliberate. Politics, power struggles, and simple human negligence all played a part. Knowledge, fragile and delicate, was constantly at risk. The story of the library is a cautionary tale. Humanity's greatest treasures, its ideas, discoveries, and histories, are often the first casualties of conflict and fear. When we hear about the lost scrolls today, we are not just mourning ancient texts. We are mourning the knowledge that could have shaped our world differently. Though the Library of Alexandria fell to fire in time, its whispers may have traveled farther than anyone imagined. Pieces of its knowledge may have slipped through cracks, carried by scholars, traders, and travelers, to distant lands. In Mesopotamia, records of astronomy and mathematics bore echoes of ideas once housed in Alexandria's halls. In India, sacred texts and calculations hinted at concepts of the cosmos that mirrored what the library may have preserved. Even in China and the Mayan civilizations, star charts, calendars, and mysterious inventions suggest that fragments of ancient wisdom survived, hidden in plain sight. It is a haunting thought. Humanity may never truly have lost the library. Perhaps its knowledge was not extinguished, but scattered, waiting for centuries before being rediscovered, repurposed, or reinvented. The echoes remind us that ideas are immortal. They travel across oceans, borders, and time itself. And even when a civilization falls, its wisdom can resonate in the thoughts, discoveries, and imaginations of others. The Library of Alexandria may have burned, but its influence still flickers, like distant stars in the night sky. Imagine a world where the Library of Alexandria never fell. A world where every scroll, every secret, every discovery was preserved, untouched by fire or fear. Would humanity have reached the stars centuries earlier? Would plagues have been cured before they claimed millions of lives? Could we have understood the universe not in decades, but in centuries? The what if is both tantalizing and haunting. History could have been rewritten. Empires might have risen differently. Religions might have evolved in ways we cannot fathom, and technology might have leaped forward by centuries. And yet perhaps the loss was also a lesson. The library reminds us of the fragility of knowledge, the responsibility that comes with curiosity, and the endless human quest to understand. Every invention, every discovery, every idea we pursue today is a spark kindled in the shadow of that great flame. The great what if is more than speculation. It is a mirror reflecting our ambitions and our limitations. It asks us, what will we do with the knowledge we hold today? Perhaps the Library of Alexandria never truly died. Perhaps it lives on in fragments, in whispers, in the shadows of our own curiosity. Every book we read, every scroll we uncover, every discovery we make is a quiet echo of the knowledge that once filled those walls. The flames may have consumed the parchment, but they could not consume the human thirst for understanding. And so, when you look at the night sky or trace your fingers along the spine of an old book, remember this: the library still breathes. It lives in our questions, in our wonder, and in the relentless pursuit of the truths we seek. Maybe it waits for us to listen, to hear the whispers of the past, and to carry its legacy forward into the future. The Library of Alexandria may be gone, but its soul, it is eternal. Maybe the Library of Alexandria never truly disappeared. Its whispers live on in every book we read, every question we ask, and every discovery we make. If this story made you pause and wonder about the secrets humanity has lost, and the knowledge we still hold, then stay curious. Subscribe and join us as we continue exploring the mysteries of history, the cosmos, and the forgotten corners of our world. Who knows what we might uncover next?